I remember an old fellow from the Richmond church who used to say it was supposed to be a treat, but it turned out to be a treatment. So, before I begin my talk this morning, I have a reading that I would like to share with you. Several years ago, a friend of mine sent me a Christmas card, and there was a note in it, and to me, it was the best Christmas note I think I have ever received. And I keep it posted on the bulletin board just above my desk. And I read it periodically, even if it isn't Christmas. So anyway, I'd like to share that. I have a list of folks I know, all written in a book. And every year when Christmas comes, I take it down and give it a look. That's when I realize that these names all are not of the book they are written in, but of my very heart. For each name stands for someone who has crossed my path sometime. And in that meeting, they've become the rhythm in each rhyme. While it may sound fantastic for me to make this claim, I really feel that I am composed of each remembered name. And while you may not be aware of any special link of meeting you has changed my life more than you may think. For once I've met somebody, the years cannot erase the memory of a pleasant word or of a friendly face. So never think my Christmas cards are just a mere routine of names upon a list forgotten in between. For when I send that Christmas card that is addressed to you, it's because you're on a list of folks I'm endured to. For I am but the total of the many folks I have met, and you happen to be one of those folks that I shall never forget. Whether I know you for many years or for just a few, in some way you have had a part in shaping things I do. And every year when Christmas comes, I realize anew the best gift life can offer is meeting folks like you. Now my talk. It's titled The Human Spirit. On these winter days in this season, if we sit quietly, we may just hear a voice, and that voice might say to you, I am the human spirit. I've been alive forever. I brought forth the very first human emotions. Great minds have argued through the ages how I came to be. Some will tell you how I crawled out of the primordial slime. When the first human being stood erect, maybe that's when I woke up. And then I moved from the unconscious to the conscious. It seems so far away now. Did I crawl out of the slime on several places on the earth? Or was it just one place? Were there several forms of human type and only one survived? Was there only one single strand? I'm not sure now. I do know that in the beginning we were scattered about in the early times. Small, tiny tribes, bands struggling to survive, spending every minute trying to gather food seek shelter. We were like sailors adrift at the sea. Some of our numbers died off like roses planted in sand, while others flourished. Our numbers grew. Our collective wisdom expanded. We found new and better ways to hunt, to fish together. We found new and better ways to do everything. Then, fire. Like a bolt of lightning, it changed us. It propelled us light years ahead. But even that was not like that frosty day when one of us killed a beast with a bone, a weapon, a tool. Now we were different. We were really different from all of those around us. Weapons, tools, symbols, language, alphabets. We laughed, we feared, we cried, we struggled, and most importantly, we questioned. Other great minds say that is not how it happened. We arrived here by divine plan. He put two of us in his garden. We made the error of questioning. Got ourselves thrown out, we did. Had to fend for ourselves. Then these two begat more. Who begat more? Who begat more and more and more? It's been so long. I hardly know if it makes any difference how we came to be. But just know that I am. What is important is that you and I were born, whether out of the primordial slime or by divine birth. You can tell that I'm alive when the birth of a new child wells with water in your eyes and your heart bursts with joy. Or perhaps when you find yourself choking up when victims are pulled from the rubble of an earthquake, or when children are shot dead in classrooms. The struggle to get here was not easy. Our joy was infinite when we grew our first crops. Our pain was vicious when the storms and floods and blizzards came and wiped out all of our gains. But we invented the wonderful idea of celebration, to rejoice in our joy, rituals to deal with our pain. When the Mongols lords bit and spat at each other and then united and plunged into China and swept across Central Asia, Persia, Afghanistan, and northern India, I feared for us all. My blood turned cold at the sound of their war cries. My children died at their bloody hands. Women were stolen and used like livestock. Our young men left bleeding their life away into the earth, from ashes to ashes. But we woke up the next morning. We cleaned up the mess. We cooked, we comforted each other. We patched up and planned for tomorrow. We have always known that there was something bigger than we are. We looked to the stars. We prayed to the rivers, the winds, and the trees. Our craftsmen built statues and idols. We erected temples. At some point in time, we must have decided that some of us were better than others of us because we anointed them priests and seers, kings and rulers, lords and shoguns, generals and presidents. Religions of all kinds sprang up through our ranks. Some of us worship this God. Others of us worship that God. Tragically, one of our greatest failings has been that at times we felt it was only right that some of us could kill others of us because one believed in the wrong God. I guess some of us must have thought we were much better. Even though we believed differently, there were moments of peace and of joy. And the spirit of man soared to the heavens. Maybe some of us could see more. Maybe some of us had visions that the rest of us could only imagine. 2,500 years ago, the Buddha left his palace. He gave up all of his worldly possessions, left his wife and newborn son to search for truth. He grappled with questions of human existence at all. Why? The questions of poverty, suffering, and disease. He gave us the Four Noble Truths: that human life is intrinsically unhappy, that suffering is caused by selfishness, eliminate selfish cravings, and you eliminate pain. Escape from selfishness is on the Eightfold Path. The right view, the right thought, the right speech, the right action, the right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditation. Confucius synthesized the belief that our personal morality should permeate our personal, social, and governmental life. Moses, the Hebrew prophet, gave us the Ten Commandments and taught us monotheism, the one God. 2,000 years ago, Jesus and St. Paul taught us the basic ethics for living and to be joyful. The Spirit could rejoice. 1,400 years ago, Muhammad promulgated another of the world's great religions. The Spirit surely felt the need. Religions sprang up over the globe. We embraced them. They grew. Hope has flourished because of them. Since those early beginnings, they have divided and subdivided, changed and stayed the same. They have sprung up and died off, proselytized and bastardized. But the Spirit seems to never have been without religion, and hope has always been its cornerstone. Religious leaders have added to and subtracted from. Their numbers have been legion. It seems we've always needed them to keep the Spirit afloat. Wonderful men, wonderful women, father figures, mother figures, giving to and nurturing the Spirit, teaching us that we could overcome hunger, disease, and disaster. Even when there was no one to follow, the Spirit alone would not let us quit. That wonderful something inside of each of us that tells us to hold on when there is nothing left but the will that says, hold on. Even with all that goodness and human kindness, sometimes things have gone wrong. Out of our midst came human forms, seemingly without human spirit. Evil ones who were sick, the soulless ones. The English, French, Russians, and Americans ignored the rantings of the German Chancellor. We played along with him to keep him off our backs. The nasty word was appeasement. Made treaties with him, helped him train his army and his air force. And when he marched into the Rhineland in 1936, we all looked the other way. He played us one against the other while he took over Czechoslovakia. Then it was all over but the shooting. Wait, did I say shooting? If it had been just shooting, we might have chalked it up to just another civilized war. But Hitler and his evil lieutenants had no intention of stopping at shooting. They gassed, they burned, they tortured, they hanged, they raped, they starved, they experimented, and they butchered until we literally could not count our dead. This, of course, was done so that the Aryan race could rule supreme. And of course, it was justifiable that the underpeople, the Jews, the blacks, the Christians, the Muslims, the Poles, the Russians, the Czechs, could all be wiped off the face of the earth. But the human spirit never faltered, even in the death camps. Buchenwald, Belsen, Dachau, Auschwitz, Babi Yar. People prayed. They meditated. They played secret games. They celebrated birthdays. They felt the spirit of Hanukkah. They secretly laughed. They still fell in love. They comforted each other. Hitler ultimately committed suicide. The Third Reich fell. The human spirit picked up the pieces, dusted off its dirty clothing, smiled, and started planning for tomorrow. Joseph Stalin took his wounded people and offered them hope. Then he purged them time after time out of paranoid fear until as many as 20 million people died at the hands of this lunatic tyrant. But the human spirit never stopped praying, never stopped hoping, never stopped loving. There probably never has been the right time in history to marry, to have a child. It seems there's always been some kind of war, disease, famine, pestilence, disaster. 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, Jews were hated. They lived from hand to mouth. It was commonplace. Citizens were unfairly taxed. Kings and governors were cruel. And so often, for all of us, there was never any room at the inn. But a child was born in a stable. His human spirit fed our human spirit. He taught us to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Muhammad taught us. Allah taught us. Buddha, Gandhi, Albert Schweitzer, Mother Teresa. They all taught us. They are us. We are them. The human spirit runs through each one of us. It is an unbroken river. Come, tyrants. Come, murderers, liars, thieves. The human spirit will survive. It is a hope stronger than any other force. It binds us in oneness and binds us in goodness. It drives us to fall in love, to marry, to bring into this world the child. And there is always hope for the world in every new child. Birth is life longing for itself. This Christmas, this Hanukkah, this season, it is one of hope and joy. We are all able to participate in one of the oldest human activities, celebration. It's a salute to the spirit of humankind. Tiananmen Square is a symbol of the human spirit pushing against the soulless people to be free. Haiti, San Francisco, Charleston, rising out of the ashes are reminders that the human spirit can never be defeated. The Berlin Wall crumbling is a promise that Attila the Hun, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Benito Mussolini will die and have died, but we live on. Nicaragua, Poland, China, and all of the rest of us will continue to struggle. Despots, tyrants, sociopaths will continue to come to power, but they will go, and the human spirit will prevail. As we go into this holiday season, let us celebrate each other. In doing so, we celebrate ourselves. We celebrate the oneness of all humankind in all times, for all places. Call it what you may. Borrow from where you will. Our Christmas tree from the Norse tree worshipers, Santa from St. Nicholas, the Nativity from the East, it is all yours. You are from all times. You are from all people. You are the Jew, the Catholic, the Hindu, the Muslim. You are the Czech, the Pole, the black, the brown, the red, the white. You are the living embodiment of the human spirit. I am the living human spirit. I am you. You are me. And we have been alive forever. Thank you.